Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
An episode of Murder at Midnight. See, I can't do the echoes very well. I really can't. Anyway, Murder at Midnight from 75 years ago, May 30th, 1947, Till Death Do Us Part. And we thank you for joining us on this Monday, 30th day of May. This is Memorial Day, both observed and traditional. The 150th day of the year, 215 days remaining until we get to 2023. Now, as I mentioned, this is one of the few years when Memorial Day, which was observed from 1868 to 1970 on the 30th of May, from 1971 forward, it became one of those three-day weekend holidays. Memorial Day observed for mourning the U.S. military person who have died while serving in the United States Armed Forces. It's not just the first day of summer, because while you're out celebrating that and having your picnics and such, or here in northern Nevada shoveling the snow for the last time of the year, maybe off your sidewalks, this is the day you remember those who gave their lives for our country. It was on this date in 1830. Well, the first American milk locomotive was the Tom Thumb, a 1-horsepower locomotive. It pulled over 4 tons at 15 miles an hour, constructed by Peter Cooper. However, it lost a race that year with a horse-drawn carriage. It did. Joan of Arc burned at the stake as a heretic on this date in 1431. King Edward VIII of England married his third wife, Jane Seymour, 11 days after he had his second wife, Anne Boleyn, executed back in 1536. The first Indianapolis 500 on this date in 1911, won by Ray Heron. Lincoln Memorial in Washington, dedicated on this date in 1922 by Chief Justice William Howard Taft. Babe Ruth played in his last baseball game on this date in 1935 in the uniform of the Boston Braves. The bodies of several unidentified soldiers killed in action during World War II and the Korean War, buried on this date in 1958 at the Tomb of the Unknowns at Arlington National Cemetery. In 1998, an earthquake in northern Afghanistan killed an estimated 5,000 and injured at least 1,500. Jerry Halliwell announced she was leaving the Spice Girls on this date in 1998. It was an earth-shattering event, of course. And the final flight of an Air France Concorde took place. It was the sound of the plane, which was amazingly fast, that caused issues. Passing away on this date in history, French philosopher Voltaire, a man killed during the 1939 Indianapolis 500 racer Floyd Roberts, musician, actor Dooley Wilson, another renowned auto racer Bill Vukovich was killed on this date during the 1955 Indy 500, actor Claude Rains, and Tex Beneke. This is the birth date of a man you know well by being a classic radio listener, none other than Mel Blanc.
What's up, Doc?
Go, I say go away, boy, you bother me. Where are you, pigeon? I am looking for you.
I thought I saw a pudding cat. That's all, folks.
And of course, the infamous train leaving on track 5 for Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga. Mel Blanc. We miss him so much. He lives on. A lot of the times when you hear many of his famous characters, it's Mel. Even though he passed away back in 1989, they found a way to bring him back through digital science. Also born on this date in history, actor-dancer Stephen Fetchit, also clarinetist and bandleader Benny Goodman, Cheyenne Bodie in the TV series Cheyenne, Clint Walker, and actress Meredith McCrae, all born on this date in history. Birthday number 86 for the star of 2001 and 2010, Keir Dullea, 86 today. Miles O'Brien in Star Trek The Next Generation, Cole Meany is 69. He is still with us and we don't know how. Working now for All Elite Wrestling despite all of his massive health issues. Jake the Snake Roberts, 67 years old and still one of the best talkers in the business, although I think there are some people who would disagree. Singer Winona Judd, 58. From Supernatural, Mark Shepard, 58. From Rent, Wicked, and Frozen, Idina Menzel. The voice you recognize, 51 years old. Singer CeeLo Green, who said to forget you. Well, that's the way it ended up being a hit, but that's not what he said. CeeLo Green, 47 today. And from the Phantom of the Opera film, Jennifer Ellison is 39. Those some of the people who celebrate the 30th day of May as their birthday, and if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi. We're the four freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
Now on this Classic Radio Theater Monday edition, an episode of Murder at Midnight. From 75 years ago, May 30th, 1947, on this Monday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
It's a big, bold story set in the heartland of America, along the edge of Lonely Mountain. I am open for business. And so Big William Gorgon, played by handsome Michael James, fiercely set down his Midwest roots.
Oh, darling, we're going to sell bathrobes and raise chickens.
Set his adoring wife, Wilhelmina, portrayed by beautiful Glenda Olsen.
Oh, I love our store, Will.
But they hadn't counted on Big Ralph's bathrobes and cattle store coming to town.
Oh, Will, what will we do, Will?
Will had a plan, a way of facing off against tough Big Ralph. We're going to change the face of America. We're going to advertise.
Adver what?
With print, broadcasting, and bus benches, we're going to tell people who we are and where we are.
What's a bus?
And so the story of how one man brought advertising to the heartland.
Oh, will it work?
It will. Well, my name ain't Will, Wilhelmina. You got to advertise or we'll die. And so the greatest marketing story of all time is here. Advertise or die, dopey.
Put your message on this national advertising platform. Email classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. Anton M. Leader, a prominent director in old-time radio, while there were many more that did more than he did, he was all over the place. He had not only directed Murder at Midnight, Words at War, but also radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. And so you'll hear some of that in this program. The episode entitled Till Death Do Us Part, the May 30th, 1947 edition of Murder at Midnight.
Murder at Midnight.
So lovely. Everything about you. Your eyes, your lips, your lovely white throat. I can feel it pulsing under my hands, throbbing.
Don't, Frank, you're hurting me. You're choking me. You're... No!
Midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest, our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in Till Death Do Us Part. And now, Murder at Midnight. Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre. Our story by Joseph Ruskell is Till Death Do Us Part.
Such a wistful eye upon that little tent of blue which prisoners call the sky.
Ruth, I want to tell you something. Put down that book and listen. I love you.
Some love too little, some too long. Some sell and others buy. Some do the deed with many tears and some without a sigh.
You hear me, Ruth? I love you.
Some do it with a bitter look. Some with a flattering word.
Professor Clark.
Yes, Professor Clark.
Love me, darling.
Wildly?
Put the book away. Almost there now. Bridal suite waiting.
Oh, Frank. Promise you'll always love me.
Till death do us part. Another glass, darling. Come on.
It's sweet to dance to violins when love and life are fair. To dance to flutes, to dance to lutes is delicate and rare.
But it is not so sweet with nimble feet to...
To dance upon the air. Frank.
Darling.
You've hardly kissed me. Why are you looking at me like that?
You're so lovely.
Come over here to the couch. A shy bridegroom in this day and age? Darling, why are you acting so strangely? Well, if the mountain won't come to Mohammed... Come here, my lord and master. Kiss me.
Oh, Ruth, I love you so.
Darling, why do you keep staring at me like that? Frank!
Ruth, no.
Darling, what's the matter?
I don't know.
Please, Frank, after all...
No, don't come near me. Don't touch me. Ruth, something terrible is happening to me. It's a feeling... It's too dreadful to believe.
What is it?
When I take you in my arms, when I kiss you, I love you and I want you so that I feel a hideous urge to...
To what, darling?
To strangle you to death.
Just brought in breakfast. What are you doing?
Shaving. Finishing up now. Morning, Professor.
Morning, Professor. Life is wonderful.
Wonderful.
Towel?
Thank you.
Leave us enter the parlor, husband.
Yes. Leave us eat, my bride.
Ah! What feast is this that tempts me palate? Fall to, spouse. Ah! Citrus, my favorite ice squirt.
I'm so happy I feel like dancing.
It's sweet to dance to violins.
Yes, that's right. How's it go? It's sweet to dance to violin...
When love and life are fair. Eat, dear. What's wrong?
I guess I'm not very hungry.
Frank, you're thinking of that incident last night again. You are, aren't you?
How could I have said that to you? I can't understand it, what got into me.
Now, darling, you're to forget it. Don't talk about it anymore. Don't even think of it. It was just your little joke.
Some joke. Wonder I didn't frighten you to death.
Well...
The funny thing is, the next minute I was laughing at myself, and so were you. But when I said it, Ruth, I can't explain it. I can't eat now.
Frank.
It was like an obsession. Yes, that's it. It was an obsession. Ruth, you're a psychologist. What does it mean? To have felt that horrible urge to do that to you. To you, I must have been mad.
Now, darling, don't say that. Don't spoil our honeymoon with this nonsense. You'll be talking things into yourself. I don't know what it is. Your nerves are on edge from your accident, that terrible crash just 3 months ago.
Please, Ruth, please. I don't want to think about it. I can still see it, that horrible, twisted wreckage.
Well, you're lucky you're alive. Be thankful. I am.
She was hitting 80, showing off. I couldn't stop her, that daffy little sister of yours.
Darling.
I'm sorry, dear. Sorry. I dare say I felt as awful about it as you did. Brilliant student, could have been one of my best if she'd ever opened a book. The poor kid, what a way to die. Maybe if I hadn't accepted a lift to town, who knows, she might still be...
Now, please, darling, let's forget it. It's not good for you. You haven't been at all yourself ever since then.
No, I haven't. Have I?
Well, everything has its compensation, dear. After all, that's what brought us together. Closely, I mean.
Yes, that's right. In the hospital, what... You were an angel.
Oh.
Well, you were just an angel from heaven, the way you helped to nurse me through all that time. When I was only half conscious. Nursed me and read to me. Read to me? Yes. The way you read to me.
Why do you say it like that, Frank?
Well, I don't know. There's something you read to me over and over when I was barely conscious. I've heard it ever since, deep down. I can't seem to recall it, but I feel that it had something to do with my crazy behavior last night. A line. It's still with me. It never seems to leave me. Seems to make me want to do something horrible.
Now, Frank, stop talking. You're ill again. You're pale as a ghost.
What was that line? I've got to know.
Please, darling, please stop shouting. I'm with you. Your love is with you. Now kiss me, dear. Hold me tight.
Oh, so lovely. Everything about you. Your eyes, your lips, your lovely white throat. I feel it pulsing. I can feel your throat pulsing, darling, in my hands. Pulsing.
No, Frank, you're hurting me. Oh, you're choking me. No!
Yes, sir? I'm checking out. Room number 438. Call me a cab.
From the bridal suite? Well, just a moment. Is something wrong, sir? You and your wife just checked in last night. Any complaint?
No complaint. Just call me a cab.
Oh, an emergency.
What business is it of yours? Where's another hotel?
Why, you'll find it very difficult in New York without a reservation. And if you and your wife...
I'm checking out. Who said anything about my wife? She's better off without me, do you hear? Well, what are you gawking at? She's very lovely, remember? Would you make a nice corpse in a bridal suite? Oh, go to the devil.
Where to now, mister? Where now?
Just shake off that other cab.
I did 3 hours ago. I told you 10 times. What now?
Just drive around the park.
We've been around and around and around. How long can this go on?
That line. What was that line? What was it?
Huh?
What was that line?
Look, pal, we going over that again, too? What line? You want the 7th Avenue line? If I'm not talking out of turn, Bud, you must have lifted quite a few today.
Get me to a hotel.
We tried a dozen. Remember, they're full up. Hey, just who are you, mister? What's your racket?
What's that to you?
Okay, I just asked.
I was a teacher, cabby, in a woman's college. But that's only a blind. My name is Jack the Ripper, see? But some people just call me Bluebeard.
Bluebeard? Huh? This is the end of my line, chum. Pay up and get out.
No, I won't. You can't make me get out. You can't.
I can't, huh?
No, because if I do get out, I may go back. And if I go back, don't you understand? I'll kill her.
For richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. A bridegroom, dazed and obsessed, standing on a city street, fearing to return to his bride, because he knows if he does, it will mean
Murder at midnight.
May 30th, 1947, Murder at Midnight. 50 episodes of Murder at Midnight were produced, most of them still in circulation since they were produced on transcription discs. 10 of them were run over Mutual 3 years later, back in 1950, as a summer series. Murder at Midnight here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Produced, this series was, as I mentioned, and directed by Anton M. Leader. Among some of the television work he did, which is what he is really best remembered for, are his productions such as The Ford Theater, The Adventures of Jim Bowie, some episodes of Perry Mason, the motion picture in 1964, Children of the Damned, also episodes of Tarzan, Mr. Terrific, Iron Horse, 14 episodes of The Virginian, and the American comedy western The Cockeyed Cowboys of Calico County, starring Dan Blocker and Nanette Fabray, with people such as Jim Backus, Mickey Rooney, Wally Cox, Jack Elam, and Noah Beery in supporting roles. Murder at Midnight, yeah, I didn't do the echo, May 30th, 1947, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll have the news of that date from 75 years ago when Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues in the conclusion of Murder at Midnight.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
And you're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite station. An episode of Murder at Midnight from Memorial Day, May 30th, 1941. By the way, even though it wouldn't be in the newspaper of that date, the winner of the Indianapolis 500 was Maury Rose, who was also the co-winner of the 1941 race. He won over a teammate by seconds, took the lead from Bill Holden of Bridgeport, Connecticut, with less than 17 miles to go. And it was, unfortunately, William Shorty Cantlin, who had been racing for many years, killed in that race. Alrighty, the Murder at Midnight, which was originally broadcast on Friday. This was May 30th, 1947, in the newspapers of that Friday, some 75 years ago. These were some of the headlines. A DC-4 airliner of United Airlines crashed and burned last night near LaGuardia Field, carrying 38 persons to a fiery death and injuring 10 in the worst air disaster of American commercial airline history. The plane only a few hundred yards from the airfield when it fell and burst into flames after taking off for Cleveland in stormy weather. It was carrying 48 persons, including a crew of 4. 3 men reportedly killed, 9 injured yesterday when an Army B-29 crashed into a hillside and burned 1.5 miles east of Ladd Field, Fairbanks, Alaska. The superfortress attached to the 46th Reconnaissance Squadron was heavily loaded for a long but undisclosed mission. Also, a 4-engined C-54 Army courier plane with 41 persons aboard crashed in the mountains southwest of Tokyo. It was not known whether there were any survivors. Delegates from the House and Senate agreed in less than 2 hours yesterday on a $4 billion a year income tax cut, opening the way for final congressional action. The bill, carrying sharply reduced withholding rates, slated to go into effect July 1st if President Truman does not veto it. The possibility of a veto has not been ruled out at the Capitol. House-Senate conferees yesterday reached final agreement on a history-making labor bill which clamps tight checks on unions and provides for blocking national paralysis strikes by court order. The conference committee spent 2 weeks compromising sharp differences between separate bills passed by the House and Senate. On all major issues, the House conferees yielded to the Senate by junking provisions of their bill, which they conceded would have made it harder to override a possible veto by President Truman. The final draft contains a provision which the conferees said, frankly, they want on the law books as quickly as possible in the event of a coal strike July 1st, when the government will turn the soft coal pits back to private operators. It provides that the president may direct the attorney general to petition for 80-day injunctions to halt or stave off national emergency strikes. During the injunction period, the disputing parties would mediate their quarrel. If mediation broke down and the workers voted to strike, the injunction would be discharged. Then the president could call on Congress for appropriate action. President Truman returned yesterday to the White House, at which he will soon sign or veto a tax-cutting bill and one to curb strikes and other union activities. The Senate voted yesterday to permit 15% rent increases where tenants agree to them in exchange for leases to run through 1948. It also voted to require the removal of rent ceilings in about 30 areas each month. There are now 620 areas under rent control. Those are just a few of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Friday, May 30th, 1947. That was also Memorial Day. And on your radio, Murder at Midnight Till Death Do Us Part. The conclusion next. On this Monday, Memorial Day, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just 2 of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
Dick Powell will be with us on Tuesday's Classic Radio Theater as that musical detective Richard Diamond. The episode we'll hear tomorrow was originally broadcast May 31st, 1953, 69 years ago. Diamond and Walt Levinson traveled to Bolivia to find the missing William Holland. And Diamond finds a Russian agent instead, mining pitch blende. That'll be coming up on our Tuesday Classic Radio Theater. But first, the conclusion of Murder at Midnight. Originally broadcast 75 years ago today, May 30th, 1947, Till Death Do Us Part.
And now, back to Murder at Midnight and Till Death Do Us Part.
Yes? What do you want?
Good evening, sir. My name is Bluebeard. You're the proprietor of this charming boarding house.
You're drunk.
Forsooth 'tis true. May I tarry the night?
No vacancies. Go on now, get on your way.
Where's his room?
Top floor, rear, Mrs. Clark. He came in about an hour ago, drunk as you please, and he asked for a single. I'm not one to rent to drunks, mind you, but I can see he's real educated. And a gentleman, though a queer one, if you ask me, with his eyes all bloodshot. Well, here it is.
Did he say when he'll be back?
He said he was going for his bags.
I'll just wait in his room if you don't mind. It's all right. I'm his wife, I tell you.
Well, I don't know. Something mighty fishy about all this. Well, excuse me, there's the hall phone. If it's not one thing, it's another. All right, all right. Hello? Yes? Who? Who? Oh, just a minute. It's him, ma'am. He wants to talk to the lady who just came in.
Let me speak to him. Hello, Frank.
I saw you go in. What are you doing in my house?
Darling, it's so good to hear your voice again. I was so worried.
Answer me, what are you doing there? How did you know where to find me?
I've been following you everywhere. I don't want you to leave me, darling. I love you.
Get out of there. Stop haunting me. I'm no good for you. Haven't you had enough? Go away.
I won't. You need me. I'm your wife. Come back to me, Frank.
Back? How can you still want me? What are you inviting? Why don't you take a train home? Do you want to die? You know I'll kill you the next time we're alone. You know I've gone mad.
Now, don't say that. You're just ill, and I'll nurse you back to health. Oh, Frank, this is your wife talking. What sort of spineless thing do you suppose you've married? What would you have me do? Run to the police and ask them to protect me from my husband? Run to the police and cry that the man I love wants to kill me? Run to the police and tell them...
Police? That's right. Of course. Why didn't I think of that before?
No, Frank! Frank! Frank, what are you going to do?
Have a seat, Mrs. Clark.
What is it you want of me, Inspector Wade? Why was I called here to the police station?
You've no idea?
No. Oh. Is he here, my husband? He told you?
But I thought he was just drunk.
Oh, I told him not to come here. I told him not to.
Then it's all true? This beats anything I've ever heard. Man loves wife so much he wants to strangle her. Kisses her. Gets an irresistible yen to choke her to death. And on their honeymoon. You want to prefer charges?
Prefer charges? What for?
Well, attempted homicide ought to cover it.
I won't. He's my husband. I love him. I'll stick by him no matter what.
But he ought to at least be sent to Bellevue for a mental...
Oh, no, you won't. There's nothing mentally wrong with Frank. Nothing at all. It's simply nerves, the result of an accident he had recently.
This really takes the cake. Mrs. Clark, another thing that puzzles me.
Yes?
He kept raving about a line when he staggered in here, as if it were life or death. A line of poetry he couldn't remember. Wanted me to tell him what it was. Confidentially, I've only read one poem in my life. Now, what's that all about?
I haven't the vaguest notion, Inspector. Just part of his neurotic state, I suppose. When we get back to our hotel room,
What? You want him back after what happened?
Yes. Don't you see, I must cure him of that awful obsession. Who else can do it but me? I'd like to see him now, Inspector. Please release him to me. I'll take the consequences.
He's not here.
Not here?
No. We held him overnight just to let him sober up like we would any other drunk. Thought it was just all boozy eyewash. Well, this morning he seemed a new man and laughed it all off. So we released him. Just a few minutes ago.
Oh, wonderful.
But then I had a hunch I ought to warn you anyway. Just a hunch.
Warn me?
Yeah. He said he was going to call on you tonight at the hotel for a little reunion.
Oh, how marvelous. Maybe he's all cured.
I don't know. I didn't like the way he smiled when he said it. Mrs. Clark, after what you just told me, I think I ought to have him picked up again.
You'll do no such thing.
It's taking your life in your hands. I think he's got wheels in his head.
I don't care. I love him.
You die just as dead when you're in love.
I'm not afraid. I'll never leave him. Certainly not now when he needs me more than ever. Is that all, Inspector?
Okay, lady. You're 14 carat. He sure doesn't deserve a wife like you. And don't say I didn't warn you. It's your funeral.
Thank you, Inspector. Goodbye.
Oh, Mrs. Clark, there's one more thing perhaps I ought to tell you.
Yes?
When I released him just a while ago, he said something else that puzzled me. That being in jail had suddenly given him revelation. He smiled very queerly when he said it.
Oh?
I think maybe he found that line of poetry, Mrs. Clark.
Hello?
Ruth,
Where are you, Frank?
in the lobby.
Come up.
I don't know exactly what your game is, my sweet bride, but I'm warning you. I've had a revelation.
I know. It's high time.
I'm going to finish it, Ruth, this time. You asked for it.
Come up, Frank.
Sure?
Sure.
Your funeral.
A coward does it with a kiss. Come in, Frank. The door's open.
Throwing a party, my dear?
Yes,
Who's invited?
you and I.
What are we celebrating?
An uninvited guest at our honeymoon. Death has come with you, hasn't it, this time?
Yes.
Shall we drink some in?
Why not?
Do you still love me, Frank?
Yes, I still love you. But I love you better when you're dead for what you've done.
How much do you know?
Not enough. It came to me in jail last night. The jail had something to do with it. How, I still don't know, but enough to make me remember something you whispered in the hospital when I was just coming to. You said, "I'll get my revenge, Frank. Do you hear me? I'll get my revenge."
Splendid. A from memory. What else?
Enough to make me realize that you hate me and have always hated me, although you pretended otherwise.
Brilliant. Say loved and hated you. Go on.
And that somehow, I don't know myself in what way, but I'm sure it must be a very clever way, as your psychology students would agree, you've been coldly, deliberately torturing me, trying to make me think myself a maniac, or have others think so.
Close enough.
Why, what I can't understand is why you did it, or why you weren't afraid that I'd really murder you.
You'll soon find out.
And I'm convinced now that you've done it all with a single line. A single line of poetry. In my jail cell, I was sure of it. The very walls seemed to tell me, I don't know why, that it was a line that you kept reading to me at the hospital, over and over and over again, that made me think I wanted to kill you.
And what was that line?
That's what I'm going to find out. Right now.
Don't come any closer, Professor.
You know, it's perfectly ridiculous. Looking at you now, close to you where I can almost touch you, that crazy obsession is still with me. I laugh at it intellectually. I know that you've tricked me into it by some very obvious power of suggestion, but I still feel that way.
Don't come any nearer. I'm warning you.
Isn't it eerie? I still love you and can strangle you for my love. And will.
Stay where you are. You're not going to kill me, darling. I'm going to kill you. Now, do you see why I wasn't afraid of you?
That gun. You've had it all the time.
Correct, my love. Right here in the wine table drawer. I've planned this all along, Angel, from the very first. Before we were even married. Yes, your intuition was right. From the day you and my little sister were brought to the hospital after the accident. From the day she died, and the doctor said you'd pull through. I planned it all. And it's worked out like a perfect equation every step of the way.
Why? Why?
I had to commit the perfect crime, and I've done it. Even the police will testify that it was self-defense against a homicidal maniac. And when they find you here with a bullet in your head, they'll congratulate me.
But what's this? I still don't
It had to be the perfect crime because I must go free. You see, one life has already paid for yours. And quart for quart, your blood is worth no more than my family's.
I don't understand this at all. What did I ever do?
You killed my sister.
I killed her?
She told me before she left on that drive with you that she was going to crash the car. She left before I could stop her. She told me everything, Frank, including what you'd done to her.
Everything. I see. So that's it. Well, I don't suppose it would be of any use my trying to convince you.
No use. I've waited a long time for this moment. Revenge is sweet. And it was such fun to torture you. I used a weapon I knew. Of course, it was power of suggestion. Sure, you guessed it. But what a pity you don't know the line yet.
What was it? What was it? Tell me. Tell me. Don't keep me in torture.
Keep back. Think hard, Frank. Think all around it. What about a jail and the revelation it gave you? What about a famous poet who wrote a famous poem while in jail?
Why...
Yes?
Oscar Wilde. That's it. Yes, that's it from Oscar Wilde, a ballad.
Of course, a ballad.
The Ballad of Reading Jail. How could it ever have escaped me? Why, you witch, you've even been reading from it on our honeymoon. But what part? What verse? What line? What was the line?
Don't take another step or I'll pull the trigger.
Give me the line, I say. I still can't think of the line.
Keep back or I'll shoot.
Oh, no, you won't.
One more step and I'll shoot.
Tell me that line or I'll kill you.
All men kill the thing they love. Remember, Frank?
How's the next line go, Mrs. Clark? By all, let this be heard? So I heard. Too bad I was a little late.
Inspector Wade.
You know, ma'am, like I said, I only read one poem in my whole life. But ain't it the darndest thing? It happened to be the Ballad of Reading Jail.
Till death do us part. A honeymoon in the bridal suite. Red wine spilled on the table, and red blood on the floor as the clock strikes 12 for
Murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death's key turns in the lock and the clocks strike 12 for
Murder at midnight.
The part of Professor Ruth Clark was played by Elspeth Eric. Professor Frank Clark by Eric Dressler. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
May 30th, 1947 on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please thank this station and support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every Monday. We're here on your favorite station. Also, if you miss a day on this station, you don't have to miss a single episode of Classic Radio Theater. You can find them all on Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon by searching Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, and always at our webpage, classicradio.stream. Thank you for tuning in. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station. Have a great week.